Okay, go.
Hello, welcome. This is 513 Solution Hub, and today we are doing something different. We are having some encouraging, some testimony moments. And have you ever gone through something in life and you're like, how bad can things get? You go through stressful moments and you're like, is there anything worse than this? And sometimes we can choose our paths in life. Sometimes we cannot choose our paths in life. We cannot choose the families we are born in. We cannot choose who are our brothers, who are our sisters, who are our parents. And though there are things that we have decisions about making, God gave us the will, of choosing what is wrong and what is right. But there are things that we don't choose. You may try to do something, you may try to work hard, but sometimes your paths just take a different turn. And somebody is there thinking, I've gone through it all, I've gone through the worst, I've hit the bottom, but unless you talk to somebody and listen to somebody else's story, you never know. You may be thinking you're in a depressive state, but there is somebody who can be worse than where you are. So I met a friend recently, and when she came into my life and I was listening to her story, I was like, all ears open. You want to listen more, you want to know what is next, what happened next. And when you listen to her life story, you are like, wow, God is still God, and He determines our paths, He determines our life. And when He's not done with you, He's really not done with you. And when you listen to this lady's story, she has gone through so much from her birth, from her family, until where she is today. And I believe there is somebody out there who will be listening to this and will be feeling like, okay, this is what I needed to move on to the next level. So it cannot be worse. You cannot be at your end. There is something God wants to do with your life. And so that I don't preempt her story, I want to introduce our guest today, and she will introduce herself. She will tell us who she is, and we'll pick it up from there. So welcome, Jenny.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to know you first and to be in this talk today. My name is Jennifer Kisilu. I come from Mombasa, and I'm born again. So don't be carried out with the Islamic dressings, just like I feel more comfortable dressing this way. So I really thank God for everything for today. I hope God will touch you through my story. You will change your way of thinking. You will change your perspective about God and everything about life.
Amen. Wow. So welcome. Put your ears on. We're going to be having a very expounding moment. And Jennifer, when we were talking, you were giving us a story about your childhood and how you were, raised and everything. So just tell us a bit more about, where were you born? Do you have brothers? Do you have sisters? How are your parents? How was your upbringing? Something about your childhood.
Okay. First, I don't know where I was born in, but I was brought up in Makueni, in Kibwezi. So I grew up in the hands of my grandmother, and as I grew up, I discovered that we are born 5. We are a family of 5, and out of 5, I'm the third born. But I grew up in the hands of my grandmother. Reasons being, I was born, and immediately my mom saw that she gave birth to a very beautiful baby girl, but she was unfortunately crippled. She could not take the shame, so she handed me on the day 1 to my grandmother. She wanted to throw me. My grandmother said, you don't throw her, give it to me. If she's not worth it to you, I know she will help me one day. So she handed me to my grandmother, and I stayed there in the village in an area called, I don't know, Kiangin or something like that. Yeah. But I really thank God for my grandmother, though she's late. I always pray to God. I always feel very honored to have her in my life, because she's the woman who struggled for me since I was born. She looked at me as a cripple, but in her heart she was not accepting that thing. She was, in her heart, she was beating her chest and saying, I know, if God destined you to be a cripple, I know you will be rich with this cripple. I will put you in a wheelchair, you will beg for your life, and you will be a great child. So she used to just give me morale. put more faith in me. I remember I was at the age of 3. Though at the age of 3, most children do not remember most things. But for me, God gave me the grace and the brains to remember most of the things used to happen, that happened to me when I was at the age of 3. So I remember I wanted to go to school, and I went to my grandmother. I was just walking with my hands, with my knees, and I went to her. I was crying. She asked me, "Why are you crying?" He said, "I want to go to school." Say, "But you cannot walk. How will you go to school?" I said, "Then help me walk." They say, "How will I help you walk?" I say, "I know you can do something for me." At that time, I used to have a junior auntie of mine. She was a sister to my mom. She was the same age with me. So we used to engage in activities, playing and all that. But that same moment when we were 3, she passed on. So I was left in a lonely life, a lonely world. My grandmother used to go to the farm. I'm left all alone in the house. And I remember I used to ask my grandmother, "Where is my friend?" Because to me, she wasn't my auntie. She was my friend. She was my feet. She could hold my hand. We tried walking, and she never gave up on me. But this time, God took her. So I remember when I told my grandmother I want to go to school, and she asked me, "Why do you want to go to school?" I say, "Because I'm lonely here. In school, there are many children." He said, "But you cannot walk." I said, "Do something. I know I can walk, and I know inside of you, you know I can walk." So since she used to have this much belief in me, she cried, but she said, "I will do something." So she went to these first aid hospitals in Kibwezi asking for help, but no one was willing to help. Until one day I sat on the cemetery of my auntie, and I was crying. Because every time when in a long time when people pass on, you don't tell your children like someone died. You say they went to heaven. So I remember I sat there because I saw them put her inside there. So I sat there and I looked at the heaven and I was crying. I was very small and I was telling God, "Please, can you send her so that she can hold me, take me somewhere? I miss going to a certain place to pray, to play." And so I was crying. When that feeling came, I saw my grandmother. She came. "What are you doing here?" I said, "I'm calling for my friend so that she can come, hold my hand, help me walk, and we go to pray." And then that thing really moved my grandma because she saw how I was eager to work. So the following day, she carried me to a place called DCK. I cannot remember where, but it was DCK. It was the main hospital. She took me there. And I know one thing I did not know about God is that He does not despise prayer. Be it is from a child, be it is from a grown-up. A prayer is a prayer. You are talking to your God, and God does not look down upon anyone. So the following day that she took me to DCK, she met these white people who are coming to give first aid to people, and she was pleading with them to help me, help my granddaughter, let her walk, do anything. So they looked at my condition because my feet were this way, I could not walk, I could not stand. And so they said, "This one is a situation we cannot handle. We are just coming to give first aid. This is first aid." So she took me back home, very heartbroken. And as she was crying on the way home, I was also crying. And when she dropped me at home, I did not stop. I went back again, crawled to that place. I sat there, I started crying. And I was asking God, "Could you just give me legs? I miss to play. No one wants to play with a crippled child. They think it is something to do with witchcraft or something to do with," you understand? So in the midst of that crying, again my grandma came. She picked me up. She sat down that day. She said, "Whatever you are doing now, God has seen it. God will give you legs. I don't care you will walk like this, you will walk like this, but I know you will have legs and you will go to school." And I believed her and I was comforted. And I knew I will have feet. Whatever she used to say, I used to believe in it. So the following day, those whites that said my condition is impossible, they came to the house looking for me. So they took me back to DCK. They placed my legs on plaster that when like you broken your legs. So they put me in that condition, and I stayed for that condition until I was 5 years old, I really got late to go to school.
Okay.
Yeah, but finally, I got my feet.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, Jennifer, you're telling us, okay, you've been born, and the person that you trust so much, that is your mother, has thrown you away. She doesn't want to be associated with you because you're a cripple, and so this is your grandmother, and through the difficulties and everything, she held you, and she did not throw you away, and she kept on building your hope. I'm just wondering, at the age of 3 years, like you said, not many people can remember what was happening, but you're having a special kind of a memory, where you can remember everything and every detail that was happening. And I'm just looking at God being very faithful, because when one person gives up on you, as long as God has not given up on you, there is still hope.
Yeah.
He said to somebody to take you to the next level. Our destiny helpers. There is always somebody to take you to the next level. And so your grandmother is there, and then there is now this opportunity for these people, the whites, to come and help the people in the village. And they say that your case is beyond repair.
Yeah.
If I can say that. You're beyond repair. You're gone. You're a gone case. Yeah. And still you did not give up.
Exactly.
Your grandmother also did not give up. So what is this that kept you moving? What kept giving you hope to move on, even when the situation looked very impossible?
Okay, I can say it is the grace of God, because I never gave up. I was feeling like, no, I have everything it takes for every child to work, to go to school, and to live a good life. That is one thing that was in my heart. And no one, there's one, I won't mention, there's one, some of the people that used to come there and mock me very well. It is a child, she cannot work. And he will come, especially my uncle, the firstborn to my mom, he will come, he will say, he will look very thirsty. And my grandmother taught me how to be very hospitable. You see someone is like this. So I see him is very sweating. I go inside, I crawl, I go bring him a cup of water, and they will pour that water on me, say that he cannot take anything from a cripple. And I will tell him, uncle, I will walk and I will feed you one day.
Wow.
So I used to speak very big words, meaning words that I came to fulfill. So because God didn't give up on me.
Yes.
Maybe my mother rejected me, but God had accepted me the way I am. So that thing really kept me moving. And my grandmother, she did not buy the situation like, you are a crippled, you will never make it, you cannot work. No, to her, she saw the way I was moving.
Yes.
I will tell her one day I will have too much dollars. And I will bring for you small dollars. Wow. And she will look at me and she will smile. Because I had dollars, I knew I would make my own dollars. And it is true. I gave her some dollars. It came to pass.
Wow.
Because I built it in my heart. And it came to pass.
Amen. Wow. I'm learning something. So, first of all, I'm looking at the power of words, because you kept on speaking positively. You never said, my case is done. I'm rejected, so what? That is it. No, you kept on pushing on and saying, I can do it, I can make it, even in that situation. So you are out there and thinking you're speaking all the negatives and thinking, it is said and done. I cannot do anything about it, and you're bringing yourself down with the words of your mouth. The Bible says that out of the heart the mouth speaks. So whatever is in your heart, that is what you bring out. And again, we eat the fruits of our tongue. So whatever words you speak, that is what will get out. That is what will become. And I'm just laughing because you're saying you told her you bring her dollars, not even Kenya shillings. So you saw yourself even going abroad, because dollars are earned abroad, and that is profound, and I want us to come back now to the story of now these guys who said your case is a gone case, and again they came back now to look for you. How was that?
To me, it was a prayer answered, because the same day, like today, I was with them. They said my case is different. And I went back to that God who created me, and I was crying on top of that cemetery. And say, can you just send me down, my friend? If you cannot give me feet, send down my friend, so that because she used to be my feet, so I cannot lose feet, lose my friend.
Exactly.
So it's like I gave God an option: either you bring down my friend or give me feet. And I thank God He decided on giving me feet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow, amen. So guys out there, there is no case that is impossible. The Bible says that what is too hard for God? He was able to create the world. So what is too hard for him? The worst of situation, nothing. Is it financial, constraints? Is it a sickness? Is it whatever it is? Nothing is too hard for God. And you may be there thinking that all is said and done. It can never be said and done unless God has given up on you, which He can never do. It doesn't matter who else gives up on you. Could it be your mom? Could it be your neighbors? Could it be whoever people that you look up to and you think that they should be the ones encouraging you? When God has not given up on you, that's it. So Jennifer is telling us that God did not give up on him, or on her rather, and she's a product of God's mercy and grace, and her words, the fruits of your words. It's very important to just speak positively, because out of whatever you are speaking, you're the product of those words today. So I'm really encouraged to know that you can be born as a cripple and still walk. You're now having your 2 feet. Nothing looks like you ever was a cripple. When you walk outside there, nobody knows that you ever never walked. And so it's really encouraging. And just talk to somebody out there, give them a word and tell them what God can do regardless of their situation. Just encourage somebody out there to think that they always say that.
Okay, before I continue, I'm back on one thing I forgot to mention. When my mom had that, because she left the Kibwezi to go to Mombasa, when she overheard, because people used to come visit their families and go back to Mombasa, when she overheard, one passenger said, went and mentioned to her, I found one beautiful child in your mother's household. She's walking and running everywhere. She looks like that your daughter comes. So she did not believe it. So she packed. In 1 week she was in my grandmother's place, and she was really looking at me, and she really got shocked. She could not believe it. And my grandmother was using some action to make her know that you are not the last say. So she would tell me, Jenny, go bring for me a glass of water, run, I will run. And she looked at me, she wept. And then she went to my grandmother and said, I've come for my daughter. So which daughter are you coming from? The child that you rejected. You say, I even changed the name. Because even to now, I use my grandfather's name, because they were making the birth certificate. They could not make with my mom's, my paternal side, because she didn't offer any information about me. She just say I'm an outcast. So my grandmother took me in. She gave me her own husband's name. So I bear the name of my grandfather. So when she came to claim me back, my grandmother refused. But she was able to steal me. But there was no connection. There was no that mother and daughter connection. So, and even her, she didn't have any connection with me. She treated me with too much contact, like I'm not part of her family. So she stole me back. She brought me to Mombasa. She was already blessed with 2 other children, more, our last 2, my brother and my sister. But she could buy for them something, she could not buy for me anything. But because my grandmother taught me one aspect, to appreciate everything in life. Whether someone gives you or doesn't give you, I used to appreciate it. I was the fattest, I was the brightest, I was the beautiest. I would say if there's a one called beautiest, I was the beautiest. I was the most beautiful, but I would say I was the beautiest because I was above all. And back in the Kibwezi, I was in school. So when she told me to bring me back to Mombasa, she could not take me to school. She was saying that taking me to school is a waste of her money. So she opted for me to be like a housemaid in the house. So I cleaned clothes for my junior brother and sister, and I kept there. But I kept tormenting her with those words that I was saying back there. I was telling her, this is your children, you have taken to them to school. and you leave me in the house. But believe me, they will never pass me this life. I will go to school. God in heaven will come down, will take me to school. I used to refer like the God who gave me the feet to go to school, he will come and take me to school. She did not believe it.
Yes.
So one day she sent me to the market. I went to the market around somewhere called Maweni. So as I was walking, I was singing ABC, ABC. So I found these tourists, they were going to the airport. They were just taking pictures of children. So one of them just came towards me. Say, why you are not going to school? You are big. I could not understand English. So I just did like this to understand there is no money. So they asked me, where do you live? I could not explain. So I found one person who can speak English for me. So I said, uncle, please talk to this lady. I don't know how to speak English. So when they were talking, I talked to the man will translate to the white. She started crying.
Wow.
So immediately she told me tomorrow, she left her money with that guy. Tomorrow buy her books and bag. Tomorrow I'm going to take her to school. So the following day they took me to one school in Kwakwani. I started schooling there. But by the grace of God, my junior sister was in KG1, my junior brother was in class 1. So they took me to nursery because before I was in nursery, they took me to nursery. But I walked towards the teacher. I told the teacher, I was speaking Swahili. I said, teacher, I do not belong to nursery. Mine is class 3.
Oh my God.
You have not been in school. How will you go to class 3? I told her, give me exam. She gave me exam, nursery. I passed. KG2, I passed. KG3, I passed. They took me to class 1. Class 1, I went. They gave me examination. I passed out of 500, I got 430.
Wow.
So they pushed me to, they only gave me 5 papers. So they pushed me to class 2.
Wow.
So I started class 2.
Wow.
And starting class 2, my mother did not give me time to maybe do a little researches at home. Immediately you come, you start work. You sleep tired. You wake up very early, make tea for others, dress them. You are not given that time to study. But God gave me the mind. I used to top. Number 1 is me. My brother repeated class 1. I went to class 3. My sister repeated nursery. So I still went to class 4. Wow. So it was like this. I gave them very many gaps, and my mother used to look at me and say, you are a witch. She used to, for her, she saw me as a witch. She did not know about God. There is grace, something called grace.
No.
But she knew about Christ. She could not even allow me to mention something. Maybe she's going somewhere. She won't tell me because whatever I say, it will happen.
Yeah.
So I really thank God for that. But we came when I was 8. My mother passed on, and all our education was closed. But I remember before that time, I used to go to one church, and I used to force my siblings to follow me by force. I will cane them to come to church. And when we go to church, I will make sure we are the first people to arrive in church. I will make them to sweep the old church. We go to the forest, get flowers to decorate the altar. So the pastor was really moved with that, because we didn't choose to do it for the pastor to see, because we used to go before everyone. We will open the church, we will decorate it and everything. For 3 years we did that. So when my mother passed on, and the church didn't used to know who was decorating the church.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was like I was just having that move, like just go. I will carry jerrycans of water, I will cane them to carry broom. They will go, we will do that. For them, they thought I was punishing them, but God was preparing something for us. Because through that, when my mother passed on and our education stopped and no one in our family was willing to educate us, so the church, the first Sunday, the church was not clean. What happened to the church? The person who cleans the church, who is that person that did not come today? So it was a mystery. So the following Sunday, the same thing. And we are not allowed to go to church anymore. Yeah. So the pastor now, there was one, the elder, he used to see us very early. Then he said, could it be those 3 children that always come early here? So the pastor said, why are they not coming to church? I said, we don't know. Then after church, I will go to find out. So he came to my mother's place. He found, because we were living in a squatter. So he came, the house was already locked. He asked, he was told the woman died and the children were with his brother, her brother. So she went, the pastor came to my brother, to my uncle's side. He found us there, and when I saw the pastor, one thing, I started crying because I knew he didn't know. So when he just saw us crying, say, what happened, my children? Say, our mother passed. That's why we are not in church. So, have you been in school? I said, no, since my mother passed, we have not been going to school. Why? Because of school fees. No one is willing to take us to school. But I remember also that time, people used to mock us, even my own family would tell us now, you are used to this modern life, we are taking you back to the village where you will live the village life. But my grandmother wrote a letter right in the village, say, do not bring those children in the village. They are not outcasts, they don't belong to village. Stay with them like their mother stayed with you. So that thing, because of that thing, my grandmother used force. Now it was like a struggle.
So you're in between.
Yes, you are forcing us to stay with them, and we don't want to stay with them. So they will not go to school. We will not buy for them essential, anything. No one ever bought any clothes, nothing. Not even soap to bath. So I remember that time we used to strip the omo we used for washing dishes, to shower with it. We still omo to wash our own clothes. But in that time, I remember I was telling my sister and my brother, do not worry. But our mother might have died. We don't know who is our father, but God knows we exist. He cannot take our mother, he cannot take us from grounds to grains.
Yes.
I was telling them, so they used to say, you are telling us like this, we are not even eating well. I said, don't worry about eating well. We will go to the best school. So I used to put that morale. So the pastor listened, he cried, he went back. When he went back, the following Sunday, their whites who came in church. So as they came, they had the story being shared to all the church. They started crying.
Wow.
Yeah. So they said that we want to see these children. We want to educate them.
Wow. Wow.
So that same it did take 1 month. We were taken from primary school to academy.
Wow.
Better school.
Yeah.
I not want good shoes, not socks, not well ironed clothes, not good bag. But when my mother died, a life started.
Yes.
Because the end of man is not the end of God. It is written, the beginning, the end of man is the beginning of God. So that was the beginning of good education. We were taken to the best school in the Ukunda, the Word of Life Christian Academy, and I really thank God. The management, the teachers were really cooperating with us. They were really putting effort on us. Have you eaten? Sit down, eat. We go to school, they make us eat fast. Go to school. Anything you need, we used to be given everything we need.
Wow.
Until this day.
Wow.
Thank God for that.
Wow. Wow. It's a story, I tell you. You listen and you're like, you want to listen more, and you want more details. And so you went to this school. Now you are still going back to the same relatives that from your mother's side. And so at what point now did you come to now leave that and move? How did life turn out after now your mother has died? You've gone to school through the help of these missionaries. So how did life continue from there?
Okay, from there, we used to, after the school closed, we used to go to Word of Life Ministry. We could have some ample time to chat, but there was something that was missing in our lives. We missed that connection with the mother. Personally, I did not have that connection with my mother. And then, so many things were happening, so very many things. We became very lonely children because people thought we would just miss out in life, but God stepped in at that very crucial moment, gave us the best. But I remember when I finished class 8, I joined Mama Ngina school, and that time I've bridged from childhood to teenager, so no one to talk to me, no one, I cannot explain what is happening to me to anyone. So the people I got were not, they were good people, but what you can feed your child is not what the world can feed the child. So again, I backslided. I think in Form 3, I started drinking because of too much pressure, because of too much stress. I started, and because of this change of like from childhood to teenage, there's that too much change. Yeah. So, and you don't have anyone to come to. The only person I was close to was one auntie of mine and one uncle of mine. But my uncle, we used to talk more than my auntie. So, and you cannot sit down your uncle. You did not used to understand. So whenever I want to talk to him, he say, you just say, we will talk when I come. When he is coming back, he's very tired. I will just respect him and he will go. So I started drinking, at least to pass out some stress. I started smoking weed. I started all this, until when I finished my 4th form. Again, I was depressed because now my sponsor had too many children to sponsor to. They're shifting many children, and I thank God for that, because it was not easy for every child they bridged to give education. They are the same children going through the same thing. So I did not feel bad about that, because I really appreciated their presence in our lives and all that. So they asked me, they told me, we cannot sponsor your education to university or college. For now, you will just go to a computer, learn computer. Let us help your junior brother and your junior sister. So I gave in at that point. I remember I used to go to every member of my family crying. I want to pursue more. I want to read more. I want to do management. I want to do management. The only thing that was in my mind is management. I don't know what I wanted to manage, but I wanted to do management. So with that point, I felt like I've reached the end of the life, and I started now dating, and I got in a relationship, a very serious relationship with one Islamic guy. We got to introduction, everything, and I had to quit Christianity to come to Islamic. So at that moment, I did not have anyone like I can say I have this problem. I share with you. No. So this guy was my best friend. He was my everything. I will tell him, he will understand me, and no, at that point is a very crucial point.
You just want to show that to lean on, regardless of what it is, you know.
Where it is coming from, I don't want to care. So at that time, I got my firstborn. And we continued, but there was something that kept on.
So now you got married now?
So, but in that relationship, let's say it's a relationship, in that there's something that I felt in my heart. That time I converted, that it has left my life. There was that person who used to talk to me. That person I used to be so much close, whatever. And I would feel like I have 10 person with me. It was God. So that time when I denounced Christ and went back to, and I converted to Islamic, there was a very big vacant place that was left in my heart. And I remember I struggled very much. I really struggled with life. There's nothing I did not try. I tried salon, I tried making, opening hotel. But God, one thing He mentioned to me, that He will bless everything that I put my hands on. So when I started the hotel, it went well. When I was in a salon, it went well. But in between, because of still depression was becoming too much. Without Christ, you are like a vast without anything. And you will just feel any noise. Any noise, you will just, you understand that point. So I remember I was walking. I had gone to see my cousin in Ukunda. As I was walking, I met one man. He did not know me. He did not know anything about me. He mentioned something concerning me. I knew I had wronged God. So I did not go back. I went straight to Kunda, went to a church, I went down. I repented. I told God, if it is about me walking out of this marriage, God, I am walking. I have walked out. And from this day, I promise you, I will never look back. So that day, I gave my life to Christ back. It was 2013. So I'm giving my life back to Christ. Things now, fire came in my house. So I really had to pack and go. But packing and going, it was also something ordained by God.
Yeah.
Because that moment I had too much peace. Even if you will insult me, I will look at you and say it is well. Because it was really well.
Yeah.
You know, Christ is peace. He's the Prince of Peace. Wherever there is Jesus, there is peace.
Wow.
You can never say you are born again, you have God, and you don't have peace.
Yes.
One thing I always tell people, without peace, you have so many stress, so many struggles you are going through.
Yeah.
And that time when I moved, I remember my daughter used to speak little, so I was telling her we are going to Christ. So she would laugh and say, Mama, who is this Christ? I said, don't worry, when you see me kneel down, you will kneel down. So I will kneel down and I call upon God, and she will kneel down, start praying with me too. Yeah. So it was 2013. So 2014, I made a plan now to move out of the country to pursue green pastures.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. It can, wow, the stories, you know, it looks like a movie. It looks like it is a movie, and then at some point you are like, is it real? Is it, you know, what it is? But having said all this, you know, what is your last word? What can you say, you know, as a parting shot, yeah, about you know, from your time of birth to the time now that, you know, you have gotten into this marriage and you have left and you've gone back to Christ? What is your last word, you know, for somebody who is out there who could probably be going through the same kind of a scenario, and you know, they feel they are lost, they feel they've given up, they feel they want to die now, it's, you know, it's you know, they surrendered, you know, what can you tell them, you know, as a last word?
Okay. Sorry. First thing I will say, there is no condition that is permanent with God.
Amen.
And
I like that.
There is no disability that God cannot make it ability.
Wow.
As long as you have faith. What does your faith tell you?
Yes.
What are you speaking? What is your inner voice telling you? Because one thing I learned is words are very powerful.
Yeah.
There is no word that comes out of your mouth that comes in vain.
Yes.
Whether positive or negative,
yes.
It will come to pass.
Yes.
Because God created everything through word, meaning the word has power.
Yes.
So there is no situation that you say this one has passed me power. No. And one thing I always say is that in that deep storm, God is there. So most of people, when they are stressed, they will opt for other means. But I will tell you one thing: a person in real storm does not think of alcohol, does not think of prostitution, does not think of any sin, because that moment your soul is depressed, your spirit is depressed, your mind is depressed, every part of you is being squeezed, and the only thing you will know is kneel down and ask God, where are you, my God?
Yes.
That is the only thing that I know. But again, you have to identify the situation you are in. There is stress, there is frustration, and there is spiritual attack.
Yes.
True. You understand?
True.
Stress is like, I want to raise 1 million in 10 days.
Yes.
That is something impossible.
Yes.
And in real life, when you talk like this, so you must identify which is this situation that I'm in.
Yeah.
Because if a crippled can walk, that is the main disability. The body was crippled. My leg, only my late grandma and my family can speak of that.
Yeah.
Because my legs, they were like this.
Yes.
I will walk like this, I'll fall down.
Yes.
I'll walk like I could not stand. That was the most difficult situation in my life. But God made it positive.
Yes.
Because it was, to me, it was a spiritual attack.
Yes.
And anything happens in our lives, it is not beyond God.
Yes.
Anything is within the care of God. He can form it and deform it.
Yes.
That one thing.
Yeah.
Sit down, think of that situation. Is it a stress? Is it stress? Do you want more that you can than you can achieve? You cannot give birth. You cannot conceive today. Not even 9 months. You want to give birth.
Yes.
That is self-created stress.
Yes. True.
You are frustrating yourself. Someone will tell you are being frustrated, but you are frustrating yourself.
True.
But one thing I always like people to take care of is spiritual attack. Because spiritual attack is that moment that the devil has closed every door.
Yes.
And when you are standing there, you don't know to go left,
Yes.
right, south or north. Pray. Pray. Prayer can kill any poison in this life.
Yes.
Prayer can make doors open.
Yes.
So you do not need to go share your stories. You do not need to go tell anyone. I did not tell anyone my story. I used to tell it to God.
Yes.
Because I know in God there is a solution.
Yes.
He says there is nothing that can bypass me. Anything, ask of me, anything. So I will sit and say, if God say, ask and shall be given unto thee. So he did not say, I cannot give you feet. I cannot give you food. I cannot grow you. I cannot accept you. He said, ask.
Yes.
Anything.
Yes. In my
So,
name.
yeah, in his name, he shall give it unto you.
Amen.
So I just want to encourage you. Do not allow the devil to frustrate you.
Yes.
Do not allow the devil to put you in a situation that you have to take your life. You do not own that life.
Yes.
That life belongs to God.
Yes.
So kneel down. Even if it is the midst of the road, there is nowhere I do not need to pray because I learned the power of prayer. So I just thank God for this moment. I hope you're blessed.
Yes.
God bless you. God bless you. God bless you.
Wow. Thank you so much. It's powerful, it's wonderful, and it's so said. I cannot add more than that. I would just ask you to just give us your number. Maybe you can just mention it. You know, somebody who could be wanting to reach you, you know, for more encouragement, maybe to share with you their story. Just tell us your number, how you can be reached, and
Okay, for those who want to reach me, I use Safaricom Live. My number is 0